Now these new super hoops, good morning. Welcome to our garden. Today we're going to start mulching this garden with fall leaves. Now if you've been following us on social media or watching any of our shorts, you will have seen Dale busy collecting free leaves. Come on, let's go get the supplies. That is a huge pile of leaves. Thank you, Dale. Now we're going to mulch this back area of the garden. First, we're going to have to take off the netting. And then we're going to be able to put the leaves under it, but we're going to close them back because there's still bugs around. Now you see, I've already laid down the cardboard. I've secured it with pins. Let me show you one. I've done that because cardboard is really light and the wind's just gonna knock it over. I used to use bricks, but wow, that's a lot of work, and honestly, I just don't have enough. So the pins work for me. Now we're gonna put the leaves on top, but first we're gonna put down some Sluggo. It's organic, and the slugs eat it and die, but it's safe for other animals and birds. Cardboard and mulch have a huge benefit of holding in the moisture. The soil stays moist, but the downside is slugs love the moist environment. To help control the slugs and the pill bugs, we use the Sluggo, but birds love it. If I put it on top of the leaves or the mulch or whatever I used, hay, birds would just flock to it and eat it all up. That's why I put it under the mulch. You want to use dead fall leaves. Dale got these bags driving around picking up for free at curbside. Now, of course, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, ask permission. You can repurpose these bags for laying them down like you would the cardboard, but they're not going to be as strong. The bags we don't use, I'll give to the neighbor. Now, excuse me while I go change my hat. It's hot. You don't want the bags to be too heavy. It means there's probably only leaves in there, not wood and roots and soil. If it's really heavy, I just avoid it. I lost my gloves. Maybe I left them inside. Move the leaves pretty thick because they're going to break down. Don't put a thin layer. Now we're going to push them in around amongst the plants. These are plants that have gotten pretty big, but be careful with your little baby transplants. You don't want them to drown in the leaves. You can always come back later when they're bigger and scoot the leaves around them. I like doing a few bags at a time. In the past, I let them pile up in the garage, and oh my goodness, this is a much better way for me. Just a few as I finish them. What's left over that I don't use in the garden, I'll donate to the community. Avoid bags with vines. They're not going to break down. And use your gloves because you never know what's in these bags. There could be glass or metal or trash. It's a risk, but I think it's worth it. And let me show you these leaves. They're old and they've been in this bag a long time. They kind of stick together, so be careful. These aren't good around the small plants. But these little leaves, these are perfect. They're not going to drown those baby plants. Now it's possible to get poison ivy in one of the bags. It's a risk, but it's never happened to me. But let me show you something I found. See here? Can you see this? It tells me it might have been a vine that was stuck on a tree. Was it poison ivy? Ivy, not ivy. But it's important to wear gloves for that reason. Even dead poison ivy leaves will cause an allergic reaction. Sometimes you find cool things in bags. One year I found 3 live geraniums. You just never know. Look over there. Found my gloves. Now we're going to do this narrow area, so we're going to look for the smallest leaves. And these are going to be perfect. They're really tiny. They're going to be perfect for this strip that's near the strawberry plants. These are about medium size. Looks really good. There's one more area way at the back. So let's fold up these bags, cover a little bit of that ground, then go get some more leaves from the garage, and then we're going to put the net back on. Now let's review. Fall is the best time, but spring works too, to cover your garden in cardboard. Make sure you overlap them so the weeds don't grow through. If you use wood chips, you don't have to secure the cardboard because the wood chips are going to be heavy enough to hold it in place. But because I like to use leaves and do it a little bit of a time, I use the pins to keep the cardboard down. Then you're going to put down the Sluggo because slugs and pill bugs love that moist environment and they like the place to hide. It doesn't matter if you mulch with leaves, hay, straw, wood chips, they're going to hide and chew down your baby plants. After that, a thick layer of fall leaves. I've used hay, I've used straw, but they get slimy real easily. For many years, I bought bags and bags of just basic mulch from Walmart. But even though I bought the cheapest, the price, it adds up. So my favorite way for many years has been collecting free fall leaves. One reason is because of all the colors they come in. It means they have a variety of nutrients that feed the soil. Because all that stuff is going to break down. Your soil's alive. Worms also love the cardboard. They're going to break down anything that's underneath it. And that fooled me. It's full of vines. It was a top layer of leaves blocking it. And put them in the compost. Let's check out this new bag. Those vines weren't too thick. It was just English ivy. I'll chop them another time. That was much better. These are very old leaves. Already starting to mold. And that's okay. That's normal. They'll just break down faster. It was mixed with some dirt, but that's okay too. I saw some kind of leaf disease, but it was oak leaves, and we don't have any oak trees in this area. These are the last 3 bags. We're going to fold them and then stack them up in the garage to share with the community. Now, one of the big benefits of sheet mulching with cardboard covered with some kind of mulch is it holds moisture. I really don't water my garden. I water my baby transplants until they get established. I do have to water my blueberry bushes. And this summer I had to water my strawberries, but strawberries aren't covered with cardboard because they're year-round perennials that go dormant. They go to sleep in the winter. You can't cover them with cardboard. So they don't hold as much moisture as the rest of the garden. But the rest of the garden, I just don't water it. Another benefit is it's going to build soil. These leaves over winter, they're going to break down, and in the spring and the summer, they'll break down some more. And next fall, I'll just cover it all up with another layer of cardboard. There's also going to be some chopped up plants under there. You don't have to move your old mulch, you just put the cardboard on top and it's going to build soil. Now my neighbors, now you see how narrow this is? Here's one fence and you've seen the other fence. This is a very narrow garden. My soil is a good foot taller than my neighbors. It's because I've been trying to remember, I've been doing this for either 10 or 11 years. And it's been building the soil. That's another big benefit. Now, why am I putting the nets back on? Well, for 2 reasons. One, we still have insects around, so it's going to protect them. And 2, it's going to help hold the leaves in place. That's the negative about leaves. They're so light, the wind will just blow them into the fence or over into my neighbor's yard. So the netting's going to hold the leaves in place. Now there aren't any plants in this row, but I'm still going to cover it to help hold the leaves. And then it'll be all ready to go in the spring. Good morning and welcome back to our garden. Today we're going to keep working on mulching with leaves over in that area near the raspberries. Now we're going to work in this area. Any old plants, we're going to go ahead and pull them up and just leave them in place and put the cardboard over the top. Anything we want to save, like the lettuce, we need to be careful not to touch them right now because we're right at freezing. And if I bother these leaves, it's going to damage them. But they'll be fine. They can survive freezing temperatures. I just need to be careful. First, we need to remove all these things so we can lay down the cardboard and pull up these old plants. Now here's where all the lettuce is. I need to be careful not to touch that or the cabbage. I'm going to work around these things. So the cardboard's a weed barrier. That's the reason I just left the weeds underneath, because they'll break down into new rich soil. But try to overlap the cardboard. Any gaps, try to cover those up, because the weeds are going to poke through those. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Now those really tiny leaves are good for the small plants like that lettuce along the edge. So I'm going to scoot some of that around those in the front and try not to drown them. You know, you're going to find sticks in the bags of leaves. Other things too, like there's some old peppers in there. I'm just going to put them in the compost. They'll eventually break down. Come on, let's go get some leaves. Now, I don't think the squirrels are going to dig through that. We'll sleep inside. Tomorrow we're going to work on this area, laying down our leaves. Good afternoon. Welcome back to our garden. Today, we're going to mulch this area with leaves. Now, this morning I went in the garage and I sorted out the light leaf bags from the heavier leaf bags because we've got plenty of leaves. Jill did a great job finding all these free bags of leaves. So I've got all the supplies ready. I just need my gloves. Oh wait, where are my gloves? Oh, I think they're in the house. And I've already set up the leaves. We're all ready. I've was just inside warming up. It is cold and windy. I've already fed the birds and the squirrels this morning. Now we're going to work in this area. Now you see the fall veggies over there? We're going to start right there with some of the leaves. I've already set up hoops to protect these veggies from the cold. These areas that don't have any plants, we're still going to cover with netting to help keep the leaves in place. We're not going to cover the middle hoops, but they're in place for spring. And I have a variety of greens here: kale, bok choy, I think that's kohlrabi, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbages, but they're really small. We have other areas that are bigger, but this area doesn't get much fall sun. They're still small, but they're still doing good. Now, why am I mulching with leaves? It's because it feeds the soil. It's going to break down and become rich organic matter. So typically in the fall every year, I lay down cardboard. And then I leave the old plants, roots, weeds, the old mulch. I just leave that underneath the cardboard. And because I'm going to put a thick layer of mulch on top, leaves or hay, straw, wood chips, any mulch. Put it on thick. Because this is a no-dig garden. We don't till. And because your soil is alive, it'll work during the winter and the spring and the summer, and it's going to make rich, healthy soil for your fruits and vegetables. Now, you can do it any time of the year, but I prefer to do it in the fall so it has 6 months before the spring growing. Now, the bags are blowing away. So let's put them in the garage, and I can show you the rest of the garden that I've already finished. It looks much better. So these plants are bigger because it gets a lot more sun in this area. Over there where we're working, it's shade most of the day. So it makes a difference where you plant. I think these might be asters. One time I found 3 living geraniums. You never know what you're going to find in those bags. We're going to go ahead and cover this tunnel with netting so the leaves don't blow into the neighbor's yard. Now, I've been sheet mulching with cardboard and some type of mulch for 11 years now in this garden. So I do have a lot of experience with this. Many years I use leaves. Not always, but many years. That's my preference. I've learned when you're looking for free bags of leaves, open them up and look inside and make sure it's just leaves and feel the weight. You want them to be light. The really heavy bags are either filled with vines and branches or leaves that have gotten compacted from the rain. So look for those lighter bags of leaves. See the fleece under there? It's ready for tomorrow night. I'm going to put the fleece over it too to keep it warmer because it's supposed to get down to 21 degrees. All of these fall vegetables have been doing fine. It's been in the mid to upper 20s, and they like that cooler weather, but 21, 20 and below, we're getting kind of close. I need to protect them. The netting's there because originally it protected them from the bugs and the digging squirrels. Bugs aren't around anymore, but the squirrels are still here. It also is going to help hold in the leaves, but tomorrow night the whole garden is going to get covered with fleece. And when it gets above freezing, I'll open it up during the day. And after that, it's not going to get that cold for a while. There's the fleece ready to go. Now you're going to find sticks in the bags, but just put them in the compost. They'll eventually break down. Let's go ahead and put the netting on to keep these leaves in place. I have one more area left to mulch, and that's behind the berries, right along there. We're going to lay down cardboard, but we're going to also put it along the fence because I don't want these leaves falling into the neighbor's yard because it'll kill their grass. But we're not going to do that today. And what about all these bags? These are the heavy bags of the heavy leaves. And I plan to make my own potting mix with these. I'll make a video about it. And all of these bags I'm going to use behind the berries. And some of the leaves are going to settle. Like this morning, I noticed the area, the garlic that we'd already mulched, the little green shoots were sticking up. It had settled, so I put more leaves on it. So we're going to use these bags behind the berries or any areas that might need more leaves. Now the mountain of leaves is gone. Thank you, Dale. Thank you so much. But I have a new mountain. Look. I have a few to fold. Good morning and welcome back to our garden. First we need to take off the protective cover. Can you see the garlic sprouting over there? It's because the fall weather's been so up and down. Lots of warm days, but no more. That's done. We have ice. Don't have to put any cardboard here because we don't want to block the garlic. But I did cardboard around here this summer around the other edges and added some fresh wood mulch. Hope the squirrels don't dig in that area. We can always get the net back out. Now let's get the carrots covered with some leaves. I'm just going to leave the carrots in the ground until I need to harvest them. They're going to be fine in this cold weather. If it's going to get really low, like in the single digits, then I might harvest them all. But the last few years, my ground is never fully frozen, so we'll see about this year. Now I did pull out all the green leaves, the carrot leaves. I pulled those out and then put the fall brown leaves underneath so that the green leaves wouldn't drown. And I do have hoops here in case I need to cover it with fleece, but we're not going to worry about that today. Now, why am I using fall leaves? Why not wood chips? Why not hay or straw? Well, number one, the leaves are free, and I like that. But they also have a variety of nutrients in them. All those different colors of fall leaves, yellows, reds, oranges, that's a variety of different chemicals and nutrients to feed the soil. I have used wood mulch in the past. Well, you saw it. I used it in the front garden. I used it because I wanted to look prettier in the front and I didn't want the leaves blowing in the street. But here in the back, I prefer to use my fall leaves. I also have strawberries along the edge, and we're going to mulch those too. Now, I've read that the recommendation is in the fall to mow them down, but I've never had success with that. They've always done best if I just leave them alone and let them go to sleep and the leaves just die off naturally and cover it with a very thin layer of mulch. But you do what works for you. That's important. Do what works for you. Now, why didn't I use hay or straw? I've used in the past, and for me, it just got slimy. But it might work for you. The key is mulch. Whichever works best for you. I prefer the free leaves. Make sure you recycle your bags. Give them to your neighbor or put them down in the garden to block weeds or something. Now the fall vegetables in front of the blackberries, I started to put the leaves behind them, but I remembered I want to lay down that fleece before I get the leaves behind that low tunnel. We're not going to need the fleece tonight, but pretty soon in the next few days. What's there right now is netting. It was to protect them from the bugs and the squirrels. This fleece is several years old, and I found that this one had a big tear in it that I had taped last year, but it's not going to last. So we're going to cut it off, and it's going to be too short. We're going to have to use it somewhere else in the garden. Now, what's growing there in the fall vegetables? Well, we have Napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts. I hear the hawk. No, I'm wrong. It's blue jays. Sometimes they make the sound of a hawk to scare off the other birds. We have bok choy, kale, a variety of things. I mainly use them for greens. I doubt the Brussels sprouts have time to develop their little buds, but I can still use the greens. Now we're gonna open it up. Oh, the birds are distracting me. And we're gonna add some leaves. But first, before we add the leaves, we're gonna add Sluggo, because I suspect slugs have been chewing on those leaves. It's just over here. It's not in the rest of the garden. And we're gonna harvest some of the leaves too. We don't need these sticky papers anymore. They were for the gnats. They're just not around anymore, so we're going to throw those away. Now, Sluggo is organic, and it's not going to hurt the other animals. But the birds love this stuff, and they will peck through that netting. So I'm going to make sure I put it down first under the leaves. Hopefully that's going to help with the slugs. That's one negative about mulching your garden is slugs love the moist environment. But mulching is still worth it. Now, when you're using the leaves, always use gloves. You never know what's been put in these bags. Now you are going to find sticks. Just put them in the compost to break down. And the day after tomorrow, we're going to work on this area. Then the whole garden will be mulched, front and the back. Well, the mulching's going to be done, but we're going to still have some other things to do to clean up for really cold weather that's coming. It's going to feel good for the garage to be free of leaves. Speaking of bags of leaves, let's take care of these. So tomorrow, we're going to work on that area back there. We're going to cover it with cardboard, pull out the petunias, put on our leaves, set up our hoops, protect our cabbages. Basically what we did today, but in a different area. And the day after tomorrow, we're going to work on that other side of the garden to get ready for this cold weather. A lot of people stop working outside in the fall, but I just like to keep going. I find plenty to do. So if you're still interested in the garden this time of year, come on back and visit again. Thank you for visiting our garden. See you later. Bye-bye.